Capricorn, welcome to your December tarot reading. New or old here, it is a pleasure and honor and privilege to have you. It's great to share energy and space with you. Now, if you're familiar with my readings, if you're familiar with tarot reading on YouTube, you might want to skip this part, but I'm going to have a little intro housekeeping thing just to help people who are new. So you should go to this timestamp. I will have it probably linked in the description or in a comment below if you just want to go right to the reading. But for those of you who are new, just a few things to keep in mind. My readings are timeless. This reading is done to post in December, not to delineate December, I suppose is the way to put that. It's just a way for me to keep track, keep a schedule, keep content coming on a regular basis to feed the ever-hungry algorithm of YouTube. That's really it. So you find this reading when you're meant to find it. I set the intention when I make the titles of my readings to resonate with the people who need them or who need that message particularly. So if that title is clicking with you and is what drew you in, disregard the month or the time period it's posted in. Time's not linear. My readings are also very general, so this could pertain to love, business, finances, relationships, familial matters, interpersonal work, all kinds of things. So they're general in that way, but also I can't read for every single Capricorn placement at once. It's just not a possibility, and it would water down my readings a lot otherwise. So I set the intention for these readings to be for those who need them most, for those who need them. So basically it's going to be for the people who can receive this message from me and vibrate at a similar frequency to me. So if it's not for you, it's not for you. There's tons of other YouTube tarot readers out there that you might vibe with more. Also, I use the words feminine and masculine to describe energy. I don't mean to use these words to describe gender or to describe, sex, anything like that. We all possess feminine and masculine energy, regardless of our gender identity, because we're complex, varied, multifaceted human beings. And no one person is all feminine, no one person's all masculine. That's reserved for the divine feminine goddess and divine masculine aspect God. Like, there's really no way any individual being can be a pure representation of that archetype. So when you hear me use the terms feminine and masculine, I'm describing energy. So that means a man can show up as a feminine energy in a reading, a woman can show up as a masculine energy in that reading. So don't get caught up on that if it doesn't seem to match the gender of the person that is in question. So with that out of the way, I'm trying something a little new. If you've watched my readings before, you'll know that I usually just hold up cards, but I'm going to do the intros with my face so you can see me, and then I will be switching to a spread so you can see the cards and get a better look at the spread I'm working with, and hopefully that will be, I don't know, maybe more messages will come through the imagery that way. I know that a lot of people have very personal relationships with tarot, so we'll see if it works, I guess. I feel like I was guided to do it, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, Capricorn, so I have your decks picked out for you. So I'm doing your main spread with the Rider-Waite Tarot and your advice cards with the Romance Angels. But to give an overview of your reading, I have some homemade, some collaged personal Major Arcana deck. They're huge. I don't know if you can tell. They're really big. But this is just a card I will pull to kind of encapsulate the energy around your reading, as well as any life lessons that are overarching in this situation that you're going through. So I think I'll start with that. Source, spirit guides, guardian angels, please help me to connect with the collective of Capricorn and communicate the messages in their highest good for those that need it. Source, spirit guides, guardian angels, benevolent ancestors, please help me to connect with the collective of Capricorn
and communicate the messages in their highest good for those that need it. Source, spirit guides, benevolent ancestors, guardian angels, please help me to connect with the collective of Capricorn and communicate the messages in their highest good for those that need it. And that is, oh my gosh, okay. So, just to give some clarification, this is the card I thought would come. But also, I had shuffled your cards earlier, your tarot, and also the Empress in reverse came out. So there's something about, okay, that's interesting, internal value, feeling in abundant in and of yourself. There may be something with, I think there's a blockage to your abundance, and maybe something around gratitude that is potentially the block in and of itself. Not feeling grateful, or kind of resisting where you are right now and not feeling grateful for how far you've come. Maybe I don't want to like be too judgmental or harsh, I guess, in the way I'm communicating this, but it's, you want so much more than what you have that you're not really assessing how far you've come. You're kind of like, it seems like you're judging yourself for not completely climbing that mountain, Capricorn, you know what I mean? That, like, oh, it's like you started at the bottom of the mountain. You're halfway up, but you still are like, I'm not at the peak. I'm not at that fullness yet. But you're not looking down and seeing how far you've already come. You're just looking at what you haven't done. The glass is half empty, not half full right now. But it is so funny because I nearly forgot to pull this card, this overarching card. So it's very interesting to see that the Empress in reverse has come up twice. So this is going to be a big part of the reading already. And it is just so funny that it came out again as I was thinking of it. Now, we do have some of the, oh, okay, cool, interesting. I say interesting a lot. I think I'm just a curious Gemini and Mercurial folk. So these are the first two cards that came out together. But again, I think there's this dissatisfaction, overarching, like what you've already done and how far you've already come, and you can't seem to get beyond that. It also kind of gives me like a hot and cold, like sometimes you like are very upset and like, what's the word? Like you're very go, and then there's like a pushing, striving kind of hot energy, and then we go into this cold, we'll never get there anyway, like why try kind of energy. It's very interesting because you need to temper that, as well as your expectations of yourself. And that's coming through. You have to temper the expectations you have of yourself already, and be appreciative of how far you've come and what you've already established for yourself. But right now, all you can see is that your harvest hasn't come. Your harvest hasn't come, and that's really messing with you. I'm having this analogy come to my mind, that Aaliyah Lovely, she does the Spiritual Shit podcast, I love her, where she says your manifestation is coming, right? You're on this airplane. It's not like you get on an airplane and you're halfway through the flight and think, oh, I'm never going to get there. You know that the airplane will land, but you're halfway through the flight. You're halfway through like an 8-hour, 12-hour flight, but you know that eventually you just have to get through the next 6 hours. And right now you're kind of in the airplane thinking that you're never going to get there. And thinking you have to do more, or you feeling like giving up around it, whatever this is, which is very interesting. I'm hearing things like, I've already done all this self-work, I've already done all of this, I've already done all of that, how come it's not here yet? Divine timing. I think that's really the airplane analogy, is divine timing. The universe is going to work on its own time, and there's probably things in the moment that you're in that you're not appreciating, or able to access, because you're so concerned with the destination, you know? But let's see. What else comes out? The next is this Five of Wands. And I'm getting a lot of discord, a cacophony. You may be dealing with a challenging group of people and feeling like they're the ones in your way. But that might not be so. We'll get more around that. It's kind of exuberant, though. It's not like a completely negative thing, but there's just a lot going on around you, Capricorn. Let's see, what else? Any other messages for Capricorn? Ooh, yes. Yes, there are. I like jumpers. I just do. So they're the ones I always pick. So we have... I think there might be some old habits we're falling into. So immediately I'm getting... some level of addiction. And I think this is when you get into that it's, you know, I'm never going to get there energy. These are also things you might have to contend with in regards to this self-evaluation, that self-worth piece that I had mentioned. But they're unhelpful old patterns, and they kind of, this devil energy seems to be warping the positive expression of a Three of Cups and a Knight of Wands. I'm getting a sense this is you, especially in this I need to go. You could be a workaholic. I wouldn't be surprised, Capricorn, if you were. But I'm seeing also unhealthy dynamics around friends or around relationships. The people around you aren't... How do I put this? There might be some less healthy people around you. I'm getting like the AA, like Alcoholics Anonymous stuff. You might not be an alcoholic per se, but you know, safe people, places, playgrounds, things like that. So there may be a place that has an attitude of, gosh, like I would just say bad influences. These may be people who aren't necessarily great for you. Who kind of lead you to rash decision making and anger, which is interesting. This may be around, I'm sensing it might be around this. There's conflict here, and then these people aren't necessarily healthy for you and kind of lead you into this old patterns you have around how you dealt with conflict or anger, or I almost get a sense of like wanting to run away. So, interesting, because usually I kind of get a Knight of Wands as a very confrontational, inappropriately confrontational energy, but here I'm sensing this, whatever this personal conflict is, this could be around friends, this could be around a relationship, but there's unhealthy dynamics here. This could be around family as well. Unhealthy dynamics here that you just want to run off and not confront, because it's just leading to so much conflict. And it's funny because these two cards, like, especially this Three of Cups upright, like this can be a raucous party. Like, this could be like a lot of fun, even though, you know, the Five of Wands can often be like a bunch of like people with like differing ideals that come into conflict with one another. They could also be a gaggle of boys having fun with sticks, right? So it's almost like these aren't necessarily like malevolent. I don't get the sense of malevolent, though the devil can kind of indicate some malevolent thing, like malevolence, but I don't think that these people are even conscious of like how they affect you. And so it's leading you down old patterning of avoidance and not dealing with it. But I do get the sense that there needs to be an exit of some kind, not engaging with this the way you used to. And I think Capricorn, and here's you, Capricorn, kind of wanting to, sometimes the way to deal, like, I get the sense that you were trying to deal with this by not dealing with it, almost. But there has to be a different level of disengagement, like a different attitude of disengagement. But I get a lot of pent-up anger around these unhealthy dynamics, because I think now you are coming into some sort of awareness of how these dynamics are actually affecting you, and then leading you away from the healthy expression of a Knight of Wands upright. So I feel like we need to get into a place where we're actually able to confront these things without, I guess, without just outright anger or outright, I don't know, malevolence is, I don't know if malevolence is the right word, but like you have to battle with this without you having a feeling one way about it or another, I suppose. I'm not sure if that's really, I don't know if those are the right words. I might have to pull some more cards to get clarity on that, but I want more clarity on that Temperance card. Can you tell me more about Temperance? Yeah, so I'm thinking getting into the soul lessons of temperance and what it means to be to temper yourself will help with this agitated, inflamed Knight of Wands that you are desperately just trying to ice, I guess. I don't I don't know where the skin irritation comes through, but it does. Okay. So I think these people, or this dynamic, whatever this is, because, it does take two to tango. Not saying that they're innocent by any means, not at all, but there are ways that we engage with unhealthy dynamics that perpetuate them. And we need to take, and if there's ways to take responsibility for that, we're not doing that here. We're running. We don't want to see ourselves in this. We want to see it as another. We want to see it as it's that fault. It's not my fault. It's this fault. And it's really hindering our sense. Again, the abundance thing is just coming in loud and clear. Your sense of individual abundance, your sense of ability to create wealth for yourself and plod. I'm getting 2 Knights in reverse. There's definitely a sense of being beaten down and just tired and not willing to fight anymore. And in regards to your finances or into your even physical well-being, but the earthly matters is being blocked. Your ability to create stability for yourself and reach that full expression of you. Let me see my little pinky baby. The full expression of what you're capable of is really being hindered here. But I see that the King of Swords, at the very least, even though I see the Wands here as being the vital life force that you have in yourself, but at least your thinking seems a bit clearer. You need to, and I think the key to accessing this temperance is through the mind that you've managed to keep very steady and clear thinking. But I think you need to get into some sort of strategic place, do some strategic thinking around matters of finance. Because right now it doesn't look like it's going very well for you. I'm going to scooch this over because I know we can include more cards in this spread. Scooch, scooch. Now, yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so there's there's this knowledge, this self knowledge here of you're actually capable of, what you're actually worth. Intellectually, you have an intellectual understanding of this, but what you don't have is the vitality. Your vitality isn't reflecting that for you, and that's making it very hard for you to actually maintain or produce more for yourself, for your kin. There's also a sense that oh, interesting. So there may be a sense of being imbalanced with how you distribute your wealth or distribute your finances, like charity. Perhaps there is a lack of balancing your own needs, your own abundance with other people in your two giving. There may be a cycle around being too overly generous. You don't know how to say no. You don't know how to. Here in these scales are balanced. They're, a wealthy man who has more than he needs, giving to those who have less. But there's still a balance. There's still, I have enough for myself. I have enough. I'm still investing in me, and I sense that there's not an investment of self. And it's really messing up your ability to. I think it's also. It may not just be around finances. It could also be with how you invest your vitality and your energy. Your life force is getting in the way of your ability to even have energy enough to produce financial stability for yourself. I see the Knight of Pentacles as being very, very stable. Very, very just one foot in front of the other. I know where I'm going. I know how to get there. And I'm still grounded in the experience of actually putting one foot in front of the other. Because I know how valuable each step is in the process. And I think that also is kind of coming back to this Temperance card of, you see how I burn myself? This is airy rising things. Anyway, it's coming back to this Temperance card around the climbing the mountain, not being invested, or not invested, what's the word? Not being present where you are on the mountain. And then you're giving away all of your, your energy. You're giving away what you have, not leaving enough for yourself. So what resources do you have to finish climbing that mountain? That's interesting. I saw these birds earlier. I didn't connect this, but then the hawk came into my mind with this King of Swords, and this is a man who can have a almost chillingly cold objective appraisal of the situation. I think the King of Swords is actually here to say, get an overview of what's happening. And the King of Swords cuts when he needs to. It's getting out of an emotional, and I think this comes back to this emotional thing with the cups here, the cups and the Temperance, and then the cups and the Three of Cups, is that you have this unhealthy emotional state around relationships and people and who you're partying with, who you're spending your energy on, and that emotional aspect is clouding your ability to make decisions for yourself in your sovereignty, in your sovereign how do I just, what's the word? Like, I don't want to say empire. I don't like empire, but that's the word. Like, in your kingdom, are you sovereign? Are you beholden to the way you feel about other people, and maybe even how you feel they guilt you into overgiving, this lack of balance around your abundance, so that you overgive and then you have nothing left for yourself? Perhaps because you're trying to avoid conflict. And comes back in with the knights in reverse, is this conflict avoidance. So I'm just going to give you what you want, mom, dad, brother, sister, partner. I'm just going to give you what you want because I don't want to get into this. I'm so goddamn tired. And then I have nothing for myself. And I don't feel abundant anymore. But we continue to give. Yeah. And you feel like they're all against you in it. There's really no fighting it. But if we get upright with this card, we know that we have the higher ground. We know that we're in the right. Even though we have all these naysayers, this 5 at the bottom, trying to make us think or feel their reality, which is that they think you're responsible for them, but they're not responsible for themselves. So then your sovereignty is compromised because you indulge in that. And now these might be cycles you're coming out of. Because these are things people you were raised with, unhealthy abuse that you went through, and this is how you know how to deal with it. But now we actually have to address it. Address how we feel chained and locked in by people we know and by their emotions and how they feel about us. But I think once we've realized all that, we can actually come to manifest. I feel like the magician to me is very much a shaman energy. It's the shaman to the high priestess. But the magician has mastery of each element, and I find very balanced. Also, as above, so below. Balancing the grounding, and then also with our higher vision and what we've received from the divine, as what is ours, what mountain we're going to climb. The material realm takes a lot longer to shift than the etheric, because the material realm is bound to things happening in time. Again, divine timing. So, Capricorn. I think I'm going to pull your... I kind of want to pull another tarot. I don't know why, but I do. I think I just like pulling tarot. Yeah. And then it moves. I think when this cycle is illuminated for you and you see, when you really get that bird's eye view, I see these little birdies here. When you get that bird's eye view of how you give away your power, we get balance real quick, and then we're moving forward up that mountain again. Right now, we're kind of at this block. We're at this, I don't know if crossroads is the right word, but we're at this check-in point. But then we can take that and manifest this. See, whenever I see a card in reverse, like this, I kind of think of this also as delayed manifestation or something to come that isn't quite there, especially with positive cards. But then this moves forward. This is one of my favorite cards I've collaged. It's quite beautiful. I like her. Thanks, Alphonse Muka. Okay. I like this for the end of the reading. That feels very good. But we're going to pull 2 Romance Angel cards. I think this is going to be about dealing with the interpersonal issues around this 3 of Cups. And if this is a relationship, this might be particularly poignant, I suppose. Any advice? Oh yes, before I forget. So, I have, if you like this reading and you'd like to see more, please subscribe, hit the little bell notification so you get notified every time I post a video. If you liked this reading, or if this reading was for you and you'd like to return the energy for it, please hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. You can also leave a comment, just tell me how the reading went for you. Any comments, questions, concerns, you can leave them in the comments. I love to interact and interface with people around my readings. It is kind of interesting reading for a camera. It's nice when I can get some of that touchstone with people, you know what I mean? And if you'd like a personal reading, you can reach out to me hit me up at friendlymystic.com, or you can go to my website, friendlymystic.com, to get more information about my readings in general. But I'm also just willing to talk to you about them because, yeah, I got time. I want to know you. All that stuff. But let's pull these oracle cards for you. Interesting. We don't need all that. Sorry, that's too many, Spirit. So first card out is very soon in reverse. The text does clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. And I feel like in this spread with the 8 of Wands and the Magician now kind of on top of all of these cards, the very soon, when I saw it in reverse, I felt like you don't think it's coming very soon. But when you break this, it comes right away. And you might, right now, you might not even see how this unhealthy tribe dynamic is influencing your ability to produce for yourself. So you're just giving it away and you don't even know it. You're like, how does my job situation relate to these people? It's all connected. It's all connected. We have 2 cards here. So we have engagement in the middle in reverse, and then retreat, which is interesting because there is this sense of retreat I was getting. But let's look at engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. I think this is telling you need to disengage with the people that you've been engaging with. But the way avoidance is not necessarily the kind of disengagement, right? And it's not necessarily like telling somebody off to their face. It's learning what your boundaries are and learning how to enforce them with individual action, not by telling somebody, that's my boundary, don't cross it. A boundary is something that you do, not something that you tell somebody to do. Otherwise, you have no control over it. Now, of course, things will happen to you that are unpleasant, but you have this boundary and you have to think, what actions can I take so that I can maintain my boundary with this person without depending on that person doing anything. I think a lot of people get mixed up on what boundaries are, and obviously it's important to communicate with the people around you, like, hey, I don't like it when you do this, but that's not a boundary enforcement. A boundary enforcement is, let's say somebody's going into your room, and this is a simple one, but say somebody's going into your room and, touching your things without you asking. A way you can enforce that boundary without needing them to change anything at all would be to get locks for your doors and lock them when you're not there. Simple. That's a very, very simple one. But I think that is a example. But yeah, I do sense this needing to disconnect from whatever this chaos is. this chaos and not trying to keep fighting it, because I think that's also part of how you're giving your energy away, is that you keep engaging in these. If you're not in the complete avoidance, then you're engaging in these fights. Even if you are avoiding them, you're still allowing it to take your energy. Does that make sense? Where, you're not necessarily in the conflict, but you're like stewing about it. Which, like, this is, especially if it's genuinely upsetting and disrespectful, like, I understand, completely understandable, but you're allowing it to take so much of your energy because you're so heavily engaged in it that you don't have anything, like, you're fighting the fight in your mind, even if you're not saying what you want to say to that person's face. And there's a level of control that you'd like to exert over people around you that you're just never going to be able to do. That might not be that's definitely not for everybody. But yeah, kind of disengage. You don't have to tell them anything. You don't have to, because I think that's just giving them your energy again. You don't have to tell them anything. Disengage and get away from it as much as you can. Resolve it without having to need them to change anything, because they're not going to change. And the bottom of the deck is the Emperor. So that's somebody who's in charge of his own boundaries and knows how to enforce them. Anyway, okay, Capricorn. That was it for your reading. I hope you liked it. It's a difficult situation, but I think there's definitely a way out. Or definitely a way through, I think is a better way. Definitely a way through this that will bring the manifestations that you're looking to bring in quicker than you think they'll come. But, yeah. Have a good one, Capricorn.